Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, the TKL Knives MR1 finally in my hot little hands. We're going to give away the off-grid knives Viper 2 in the July Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway. And I want to talk about game-changing innovations in knife history. And knife history sounds grandiose. I really mean in the last 20 years. I want to talk about modern knives and some of the things that we now take for granted that when they came out, just kind of blew everyone's mind. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that shortly. I want to say good evening to Groundfog. Groundfog, how you doing, sir? It's good to have you. Patrick J. Dunn, how are you? Hello. Monkey Edge has hinderers right now. Oh, XM 18 3.5 non-flipper. Nice. In black G10 and stonewash finish in battle black. Go, go, go. That's awesome. I always think of Monkey Edge. I think of Frag. But I guess they sell a lot of other stuff. But the things that they commission, they always have that cool frag pattern. Dion Page, how you doing, Dion? Hello to everyone, and happy Thursday Night Knives. Happy Thursday Night Knives to everyone. Thursday night, as I like to say, the beginning of the weekend. Have a Knife Day says, good evening, Junkalos. Good evening to you, sir. Brandon Sutton, good to have Brandon with us. Chakabra. That's this old sword. Good to have you with us. Good evening, sir. Evening, NAF junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Biggest game-changing innovation in knife history, the Iron Age. Yeah, followed closely by Thursday Night Knives. I like how this man thinks. Exactly, Dave. Good to have you with us. Dave is doing a collection videos. Check those out. No doubt there will be many parts to that, and it will be a bit of eye candy, eye dessert. Mark Salva, good to have you here, Mark. I'm here early. Good evening, Bob and fellow junkies. Well, good evening. It's good to have you here early. Powder metallurgy. Oh, yes, sir. That's a big one. That's almost meta, if you're going to use that term. Mike Flamian, good to have you here. I'm here, he says. Well, it's always a pleasure. You're here with your Randall 14 attack, no doubt. Byron Kennedy, good to have Byron with us. Howdy, Bob, Jim, Junkies, Dion P, Hack D, Togata, Brandon S, Mark S, Patrick D, and all. He's doing some shout outs. Good to have you with us, as always, Byron. Kepmuk, also good to have you. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Happy Thursday Night Knives to you. Hey, Bob, Jim, and Junkie says Will B. Hello, Will. How you doing, sir? Awesome to see you. And James, good to have James Moore with us. Happy Thursday, he says. And a happy Thursday back to you, sir. Blade Ogre, how you doing, sir? Hello, all, he says. Blade Ogre's here with his heavy pockets, no doubt. Weston Probst, good to have Weston with us. Yo, good evening, Weston. It's good to have you here. Power play for real. They knife junk. I think you meant hey, knife junkie, Bob and friends. Good to have you, man. Power play with us. Fernando Seleme. Hello, he says. Fernando, hello, man. It's good to have you with us. Byron Kennedy says, let's talk about the innovation, but sadly, the final chapter of the book on Ontario Knife Company is written, and the book about a 130 plus old company is to be closed. I have not heard this. This is big news. How is that possible? Excuse me. I'm always the last to know. That's what happens when you're the youngest in a line of siblings. You're the last to know. No, I'm just kidding. But I gotta read up on that. I had not heard that, and I'm usually scouring the knife news. That's sad to hear. That is unfortunate news, for sure. I don't like to see any business, even the most disorganized mom and pop business. Hate to see businesses go out of business, but especially 130 plus year old American knife company that I thought was doing pretty damn well. That stinks. I want to show something off here that's in my hands for a short period of time. Let me put this under the knife cam. This is a beaut. Now, I got a chance to check this out at the Tempest Knives table at Blade Show this year. Let me sheathe this up before someone gets hurt. This is a prototype from KC, and that's KC of Knives Fast channel. Also, you know him for Tempest Knives. And this thing is a beauty. It's made by Kubi Knives. And there are a bunch of that was just my left hand being lame. Don't worry, it's a great knife. And so this is doing the rounds. It's one of few prototypes. This could be the one I was pawing at the table this past June. Just really, really beautiful, and I think a really good step. That's not what I mean. I just mean with every new design from KC. Excuse me. I like all of his designs, and I see growth in this design. So it's a sophisticated design, I think, and it feels great in hand. That's a 3.5-inch blade. This is D2 on the prototype. It's going to be 154 cm on the production model, and of course, that's contoured anodized titanium. It will have micro milling on the final. This is nice and smooth. I actually, at first, it was alarmingly smooth, but I really like it. I've grown to really like how this feels. And you can see a bit of patina forming on it just from my hands and the hands that had it before. Nick Stasa 23 had this before me. So you're seeing some patina from use, and no doubt he put this through its paces. This is OEM'd by Kubi Knives, and that's titanium. So this is open. This pre-order is open on Tempest Knives. I highly recommend it. It's really super smooth, and I'm going to tell you the price in a second. I love that kind of super low profile flipper tab. It's like pretty much my favorite kind, because I find that when I'm doodling and drawing and designing my own flipper knives, that's usually exactly what I do. I cut that piece out and I put a flipper tab there. Speaking of that piece, that's another thing they're going to change when they go to production. They're going to make this, I guess, a little more gentle. I guess some of the wimps who had this before me found that uncomfortable. So they're going to change that. It's going to be a black blade with silver, or this blue and silver blade. Looks really nice. I'm just kidding. Stasa, I don't know if you've ever shaken his hand, you know that man is not a wimp. But yeah, that's another thing they're going to do, is curve that off. And I believe a couple of other things. Jim, look at you. 130. There's the Tux edition, or reverse Tux. That sounds dirty. There's the reverse Tux edition. That's probably the one I would be inclined to get. Though I love this blue anodization here on this one I hold in my hand. But Casey did send out an email showing the people that he's sending this to the micro milling, and I think it looks great. You know, it's like real thin diagonal milling. Very, very cool. Classy filler tab. Classy. That's class. So really liking this thing. Very cool. And then, as usual, it has his proprietary logo, and then his little cyclone, or his little Tempest logo. All right. Very good. Thank you, sir, for loaning this to me. I'm going to make a video of this post haste and get it on into the next hands. But do know, ladies and gentlemen, that is now open, that pre-order. $130. It is a steal, and then on the production drop, it'll be more. All right. Oh, here we go. Ontario Knife Company in Frankville sold. 56 employees lose jobs. Oh, God, that sucks. Oh, man. It's. I don't want to say it's interesting. It's not interesting. I just so happen to have this Ontario Knife and Tool knife out tonight. I usually don't, have them hanging around, but I was moved to pull this out, and man, I don't know. I'm very, very, very sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that 56 people lost their jobs, and these are skilled jobs too. These are people who know how to build knives and market knives and make knives. I really, really hope they land on their feet somehow. As pie in the sky as that sounds, and I hope that I don't know. I just hope that Ontario Knife somehow finds a way to continue in one way or another. That's a bummer. Blade Ogre says, for innovation in knife history, we'll have to start with the big dog of early pocket knives, the Buck 110. think it was meant to be a foldable fixed blade, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. It was supposed to be like a foldable 119 basically. Um, and built stout like one, you know. Aberdeen Blades, good to have you here. If a $3,000 home repair hadn't struck my wallet, I'd be all over a jet stream. Nonetheless, hello, junkies. Hello, Aberdeen Blades. It's good to have you here. $3,000 home repair. That just means you're living. You know what I mean? That's you're living in a house. Good for you, man. That is we've had those moments. We had our entire AC and heat go out. I was probably about 5 summers ago, and that was a I don't know how. Thank God we were able to scrape it up. It was crazy. It happened, of course, on the hottest day in Virginia too. Dion Page says, "Stab, chop, slash, slice, annihilate that button." Yeah, it said knives suck. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That button said knives suck, and you're a dork for dorking out about them. Yeah, so hit it, slab it, stab it, slash it. We will talk about Ontario Knife Company once I've had a chance to, develop read a story about it and develop a thought beyond sadness and that sucks on the midweek supplemental. So do look for that. That is a buzzkill though. Bummer. Anyway, all that said, think it's time to bring up the mood with a pocket check. Because I'm a very classy gentleman, in my front right pocket today, I had an Ocaso Knives Solstice. This one with the black coated S35 VN blade and the unbelievably light carbon fiber handle. This is designed by the great and powerful Andrew Demko. Andrew Demko is such a cool guy, and talk about innovator. Actually, that's why I thought to do this this topic tonight on innovation. Anyway, I got a suite of 4 of these knives in 4 different dress. 2 carbon fiber, one with the black blade, one with the stonewash or satin, and then a titanium all black and a titanium all stonewash. And they are all really great. This is the only one that I hadn't carried up until today was this one with the black coating on the carbon fiber, and it is really smooth. It's funny how sometimes the black blades aren't as smooth, or they take time to get smooth. That has not been the case with these Ocaso Solstice knives. Really, capable gentleman's knives at 3 3/4 inch blade length, nice long slender clip point, and then a very nice neutral handle with a slight flare at the back that I really like. And I like something about this knife. It's easy to take in any grip. You might be a gentleman cutting your steak with it, but someone might come in and besmirch your honor, and you might have to fight them. So I mean, like, you could turn it around like that. These are pretty robust. They seem delicate. I guess I would venture to say the carbon fiber ones are I'm inclined to say are more delicate, but carbon fiber is damn strong. And so it might be just the lightness of it fooling me. But Byron Kennedy says that Ocaso is a great looking, slick CEO style knife. Yes. To me, it's like CEO on steroids in that it's not that much bigger, but I feel like it's way more capable, way more robust. And I think that's partially because they're made in factories in Taiwan where some of the cold steels that we love are made. Cold steel. Speaking of cold steel, exciting things happening at the Knife Junkie podcast. Just keep your eyes peeled. Good cold steel things happening here. So yeah, excited about that. All right, next up on my belt was the TKL Knives Night Stalker. Today, I had I kind of was running out the house, and I did not grab a slip joint, but it's okay. I have one at my desk at work, but I didn't bother to bring it here because I didn't need it or use it today. But so no slip joint today, but I did have my TKL Knives Night Stalker This is such great carry. It's excellent summer carry. I'm holding it like this because I'm holding it like this because this is the view of it, looking down your belly, and then you've got your belt right here. It just goes right flat up against you. I don't know, man. This one carries so amazingly. I love carrying this knife, and it's one of only a very, very few that I'll carry gladly and gleefully horizontally on the front of my body. And I really like the ring so that it can be extracted easily. I can maintain a natural fist because of the ring placement, and then offhand, it's just a slow and easy draw, and this knife is excellent. I love it. AEBL steel, nickel boron coating. This is like at a Rockwell of 5960, I believe. It's like is that right? I can't remember actually, but I do know that the nickel boron adds a Rockwell. It adds one in that recipe there. Okay, Tico Knives Night Stalker, and then lastly on me for emotional support. Where is it? Oh, here it is. How can you miss it? I had the Cold Steel Lynn Thompson Vaquero Voyager XL serrated on me, and what a great knife this is. So I interviewed Lynn Thompson today. I can't keep it in. I had a great long conversation with him. I think we went about almost an hour and a half, and then we did some extra for the patrons. And what a great guy! And he really opened up, and we had an awesome conversation. And I got to say, I have not seen too many interviews with him on the internet where I feel like he's gotten comfortable, and I feel like he kind of got comfortable. And this will be on July 30th that we post this. So very excited. Do check it out. And of course, patrons get early access to the extras a couple days early. And but yeah, very cool guy, and he's definitely open to coming back on the show. And he was just he said at the end he was so happy to just have time to talk about the stuff he likes. And I was like, I know, that's why I started the show, so the ladies in the house don't have to hear it, or just get a minimum dose. All right, well, only 3 knives on me today. I was walking around with my looking over my shoulder all day, feeling very underknifed with only 3, but at least I had these 3 awesome knives on me. So this is what I had on me for emotional support. It was in my bag, but it came along. I had the Voyager XL Lynn Thompson edition, signature edition, the TKL Knives Night Stalker. I just can't recommend that knife enough. And then another really, really sweet knife, this Ocaso Solstice. What did you guys have in your pockets? Let me know. And give me those ideas. Keep those ideas flowing. Mike Flamian says, in the pocket, Borca Marfione. Do apologize. That's 2 weeks in a row you have to hear me cough. I'll be better next week, I swear. Mike Flamian says, in the pocket, Borca Marfione, SBTF, Abalone. Oh my God. Abalone and mirror polished Tonto for folder. So I know exactly the profile of that. I know I can see that very knife in my mind, and I'm adding the abalone, and it's beautiful. And a Randall Model 14 for Fixie, as I predicted. Spyderco neck knife, Arc, and Victorinox Cadet on the keychain. Man, Mike, nicely done, sir. What can I say? That's a beautiful, beautiful carry. Have a Knife Day says, classic K-bar with VEF serrations. I love that. That's very cool. In a custom Kydex sheath, and the Spartan Knives OD Green Poros. Oh, very nice that they make that in OD Green. I am excited to get that knife. I keep saying that, but I haven't moved on it. Dion Page says, Tonto Spike. Love the Spike series. Tonto Spike, Recon 1 Tonto, and Swiss Army Knife Evo Grip on duty at the ready. That sounds awesome. Recon 1, what blade do you carry? I know you've told me, but I'm might be confusing that with Byron, who carries the drop point. Don't you carry the drop point? Recon 1 sometimes. Byron says, Carry is a Rough Rider Brown Stag Hawkbill. Ooh, that's cool. And an Uncle Henry LB7. LB7. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm guessing it's some sort of a slip joint. Aberdeen Blade says, Leatherman Skeletool in the pocket. That's a good one. Aberdeen, I dig your logo. I've said that before, but that's a beautiful logo there. Joseph S. Good to see you here, Joseph. Good evening, Knife Junkies. He says, Petrified Fish 959 Veteran. I don't know which one that is. And Essie Azula and GEC number 83 and the Leatherman Rebar. The 959 Veteran. That sounds cool. And Essie Azula. So Essie, I guess Essie came from Randall's Adventure Training. So I think Essie is fine, I hope. This old sword says, today's carry, Artisan Accelerator TIE Frag in S90V. That's such a great knife. That's a Mike Snowdy design. Interesting cat is Mike Snowdy. Bastinelli Red V2 Fixie. Oh, that's nice. Were those the ones that were used by Mila Jovovich on in those movies, Raccoon City movies? I think she used double Bastinellis in one of those movies. Anyway, I love the red in general. That red blade design. Arcane Designs Abyss, very nice. Booze Blade Smoke. Oh, that's a name I haven't heard. That is a name I have not heard in a while. 2.0 and the Olight Warrior Mini 3. I'm loving the Warrior from what I've seen. I think I'm going to have to go for that'll probably be my next Olight. No, I'm not becoming a light nerd, but that would take away from my knife budget. But I am appreciating a good light. So and I like the look of the Warrior. It looks like it feels good in hand and is very sure. Okay, so Blade Ogre says, carrying the Sniper Blade Works LPC, the Buck Spitfire, the Buck 110 Sport in S30V. Something I'd be interested in checking out for myself. Emerson Sheepdog Bowie, you know I approve. The Shed Knives Freedom Tonto, the GEC English Jack. Is that? Oh, no, I know that's not the new one. The Case Elephant Toe. Oh, very nice. And the Bastinelli Mako and the Sleazy Ogre. Man, Blade Ogre. Just outdoing us all on the numbers, at least by one. Usually Will B has at least the same or close. Let's see. James Moore says, pocket check, Sharp by Design Mini Tempest with hand rub Bowie blade and Marvel Blue carbon plate inlays. Marvel Blue. Now, is that just a name, or is that Marvel like the comic books? Just curious. Ket McNessart says, today I carried the Malone Knives Outlaw, the Benchmade Mini Adamas, and the Jack Wolf Knives Feel Good Jack, and the Micro Dick Pick. Very nice. All of those are nice. I'm not too familiar with Malone. As a matter of fact, I'm not familiar at all with Malone knives. For a second, I was thinking Olone knives. This old sword says, by the way, nickel boron coating is 70 HRC. Yeah, but I don't think it's thick enough on top of the steel to have that full. I could be mistaken, but I do know it's nice and slick. But does that mean the whole blade is a 70 HRC, Dave? Is that what you mean? Or is that what that means? Jay McConnell, good to have you here, Jay. Evening, Bob, Jim, Junkies. Started the day with a Benchmade bailout and Case small swell center jack. That's one of their new ones, right? Out of the vault this year. Later, switched to the TW Price Dawn version 2 and the laid back jack. Yeah, that TW Price, that's beautiful. And the laid back jack. Which one is the laid back? Yeah, I don't know. I start to. I got to admit, with the even with the great names on the Jack Wolf knives, some of them are starting to escape me now. I'll pull it out and I'll be like, "Oh, I'll carry this. What is this one again?" And I have to look it up. Will B says, today I had my Demco 8020 Slim. Very nice. We Ziphius, Benchmade Rift, Concept Preta 2, Axial Shift, Devo Pony Stout, Vandrer Fenrir, sorry, Riot Exo, Olight Baton 3, Argfeld UV, and Kara's Bolt V2. Man alive. Yeah, that's like a movable feast. If you got to sell something off on the way to the Casbah, for a little extra cash, that's pretty awesome. I like that you have an out the front in there. You kind of have a lot of bases covered with that carry. I like it. Except for the fixed blade, right? You didn't have your Ronin with you. Dion Page says, yep, I have the drop point in CTS XHP. That's awesome. I don't have them here. My two Recon XLs, the Tonto and the Bowie, are in XHP, and I really like that steel. And I must admit, it's only because I really like that steel. I can't say that I've had like this vast experience liking it or using it and finding it. Wow, this is better than any other steel. So I guess that kind of means I just kind of like the sound of it. But I also know I like to sharpen it. It's not terrible to sharpen. Then again, have I needed to sharpen it? No, just hone it, really. So, all right. That's a little bit of therapy. Thank you. Weston Probe says, today was the Petrified Fish Victor. Love that knife. And the Finch Halo. I think, excuse me, I think that the Victor has one of the best looking folder clip point blades out there. Really, really beautiful. Yomovich. Yeah, I kind of like her. Especially when she's wielding dual kukris, like in one of those too. That was pretty cool. Happy Haptics EDC, good to have you here, sir. What up, you degenerates? Yeah. Hey, this when I was growing up, when my dad would hear us, whatever band we were playing to or listening to, my dad'd be like, "Who's this? Joey and the Degenerates?" That was his generic name for rock band. Joey and the Degenerates. I loved it. Power Play for Real says, Recon 1 Tonto and CRKT Spew neck knife. Beautiful. That Spew neck knife is by Alan Foltz, a guy I introduced myself to at Blade Show. He wants to come on the show. Or I should say, I invited him on the show. He said yes. And excited about that. He's an interesting dude. He's training the guy Macho, who Macho Blades was on the show. And he has been mentoring him / a friend, and from whom Macho's learning a lot, which is cool. He's a cool dude. This old sword says the movie was Lucy with Scarlett. Yes, thank you. Yeah. I like Scarlett Johansson pretty well too. And she had twin. I'm sorry. Go back. I'm sorry, Jim. And she had twin Bastinelli Raptor L. Raptor. I don't similar like handle setup, probably ergonomically, but I don't remember what the Raptor. I don't remember the difference now. I'll have to do some Bastinelli digging after this. Man, I would love to have. That's another collector I'd like to collect. Another maker designer I'd like to collect. Will B says, I swapped the Fenrir and the Ronin 2 out. Oh yeah. I spaced that you had the Fenrir. I carry the OTF in my work shirt pocket. Oh yeah, that's cool. Nice and light, and probably doesn't look like no one. People are so unobservant. Then again, sometimes you find they're more observant than you expect. They just don't tell you that they're observing certain things. I've had that happen too. Patrick J. Dunn says, I'm back. Had to go to OnlyFans to pay for that hinderer. Carry my new Malibu Warney textured blue handles. Those look so nice. I've seen that with the blue handle and what is it, like a bronzed gold pivot or button, something like that. Really looks nice. Okay, Dave says, from TKEL website, thank you, sir. Hardness 80 plus HRC What is that? Nickel boron TIC. Oh, okay. Nickel boron uh, produces a surface that is harder than competing processes. Interesting. Man, it's slicker too. It has a real nice feel to it when you touch it with your hands. I mean, it would have a yeah. Well, I'm not even going to speculate on that, but a very cool material brought in from the firearms realm, firearms making and such. Happy Haptics EDC says, I had my Jason Grant mini camper custom fixie. That's who made Blade Ogre's Sleazy Ogre. The 80 20.5 clip, Olight Arcfeld UV, the alpaca hub pouch covered in REs and loaded with other goodies. Okay, wait, hang on. Alpaca hub pouch, obviously that's a carrying case, but covered in REs. Are those the little Velcro patches? And loaded with other goodies. Love that. I love those little EDC things that keep everything organized that would otherwise just be rattling around in the pocket of your backpack. And you get them all in their little place and they don't make so much noise. Nickel boron harder than DLC? Yeah, Dave, that's a Dave question. I don't know. I'm betting it is personally, but that is based on absolutely nothing except for the fact that I like saying nickel boron, and I think I love the way it feels because it's nice and slick, and I think it's cool because it's unusual. But I don't know. I don't know if it's any harder or not. Wilby said, "Nah, my coworkers know what I'm carrying. I walk around with my fixed blade visibles most days." That's Will. There are days like that too. Visible, not overt, but just like if you care to look through the blousing of my pirate shirt, you might see a little handle there. AEBL Model 1 today. Oh, very nice. I didn't know he made those in the Model 1. I'm assuming that's the American Blade Works. Jay Cruz 2, Jay Cruiser 2. Good to have you here with us, sir. Carried the CJRB Echo button lock. I gave my Echo away. I need to get. Oh no, I didn't have the Echo. Sorry, I had the other one that came out right before the Echo. Okay, so I need to get one. Carried the CJRB Echo button lock, the Wii Banter, the Olight SR1 Baton 2, and the Olight Mini Warrior. Let me ask you, Jay Cruiser, the CJRB Echo, do you have the contoured mic to handle scales with the button lock? I look at that. To me, it looks so nice. I got to get that Echo. I do wish that it had a blade with the point a little bit more like the Pyrite, the Pyrite Warncliffe. And also, have they made the XL in the Warncliffe yet? I hate when they do that, but I understand why they do. Anyway, Patrick J. Dunn says, had a Glock 23 in nickel boron. Oh, I bet that looked cool. Wilby says, oh, I'm overt. I work in a small manufacturing plant. We make boxes, so it's not really a big deal. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a place where you need knives. It's not your average office like where I work. Let's see. Yes, sir. Ranger's eyes, little patch thingies. Oh, okay. All right, cool. Ranger's eyes, little patch thingies. Okay. Yeah, when I had a couple of them stuck to my backpack and I was unaware that people had done that during Blade Show. That was pretty cool. One of them was well, one of them said free hugs, and I gave that to my friend who walks around his neighborhood with one of those weighted vests, and until yesterday had a big long beard, and he said it kind of weirded people out. It looked tactical, so I gave him one that said free hugs, and then some. Yeah, I got a couple stuck on my back. One of them was like, "Weakness is for the weak," or something like that, and I was like, okay, get you nice and excited about that. All right, so let me show you something cool. I'm going to jump ahead because we've been talking TCAL, we've been talking nickel boron. Let me show you my MR1. This just not finally. It was pretty quick. This just arrived to me. I was on the I think it was the second run ever of these. In other words, the pre-order for the MR1 was just live not too long ago. I got on that, but I know that this had been out before. But this one is mine. So this is the MR1, Marine Raider 1. This is a Pikal style knife based like exactly on the Night Stalker, just sharpened on the other side. To fill a request by a Marine Raider unit in California that wanted something like this, something where you can have it in your hand and, do this kind of action and use that back blade and have all the benefits of a ring knife and that kind of thing. And after a bit of back and forth, it sort of dawned on Tim that if he just took his most selling knife, the Night Stalker, and in my opinion, just a really, really excellent knife, and just reverse the edge, he could have everything everyone wants, i.e. like a really, the Marines could have this really amazing tactical style knife, and he could have a brand new design without really, in terms of like cutting out blanks and stuff, he doesn't have to do anything new with that. And same thing with the handle scales, and like some of it is already initiated. But wow, I love this. I love it. And it carries exactly as well as the Night Stalker. So really, really, really excited to have that. I very quickly have become a TKL knives lover fan, I guess you say. And I'm really psyched to have these. I would like to get here. I have the one I have on my belt currently is the Combatant, and all three of these have this sort of swirling pattern. It's multi-layer G10, but each layer has the various colors swirled in, as opposed to each layer being a different color. I like both, but I'm really into this swirly idea. And they started, I think, first with this wood grain one, and at the same time this green one, and now they have this one called Gray Man. Like you're the everyman who blends into the landscape with your Pikal style knife on your belt. And now I think I saw pictures with purple and other in this kind of swirl. And I love that. I love that you can get all these different colors, colored handles, and put them on there, and you can even get my card on stuff like that. One thing I did do, there's a definite difference in texture from one G10 to the other, and I don't know if it's just because I've had and carried this one for a while, and that this is going to get more like smooth feeling like this, but I did put a little bit of gaffer's tape right here around the ring on the top, so that when I'm carrying this knife, if I for whatever reason forget which one I have on, because they're pretty much exactly the same except edge orientation, I can feel this and know, okay, this is the Pikal. Excuse me, this is the Pikal version of that profile. So there we go. Very, very, very psyched about that Pikal style knife. Anyone? I know Dave out there has both of those. Maybe all three. I'm not sure, Dave, if you have the Combatant. This is a great little knife too, and it's a lot of it has to do with these great finger choils. 2 of them here and 2 very high humps between them, and it really locks this just barely 4-finger knife for me in the hand. Echo button lock has flat scales. The liner lock is the contour. Okay, this is my problem then. That's right. I noticed that on one of Jared's videos, and I wish I could switch those or kind of combine them. But I do like the flat scale. I like the I should say I like the Echo anyway, so it doesn't matter. Dion Page says that's badass. Well, I couldn't agree with you more, sir. It is badass. Now this is a one Pikal style knife that is the other edge sharp. No, it comes to like a zero, almost a zero ground edge that's been knocked down through the stone washing process. If you were to take it and wrap really hard, it would hurt, but no, it's not. It's not sharp. The blade profile looks quite different between them. Yeah, it sort of does. And then when you do this, they're exactly the same on the outside. So these two knives come from the very same blanks, but then everything after that, from here up is reversed. Couple of things this doesn't have. The MR1 doesn't have these little scooped jimps that are placed right there in that forward well, and does not have jimping here. This is something I think this should have, actually, is some fine and grippy jimping right here, because obviously you know why. You might want to be using this knife like this. I tend, in a forward grip with a ring, never to put my pinky in the ring. I tend to just use the ring as a nice flared pommel. And you might want to be using this like a clinch pick, and doing pull cuts like this. Still, you might want something to grip your thumb. Make sure it's not going to slide up onto the blade. That would suck, obviously. TKL knives. That Sapper's a beaut, with Imre Morgenstern, who was just on the show, former IDF special operator, who helped design that knife, or put a lot of design into that knife. Man, that thing is cool. Dion Page says, I want both sides sharp. Oh, yes, I'm always for both sides sharp. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, with this one, you could get both sides sharp, but it's not going to be a slicing sharp. Obviously, it'll be that sharpened swedge kind of sharp, like on the back of a Trailmaster Bowie or something like that, which can definitely gouge and tear and split and do the nastiest work of a blade. Patrick J. Dunn says, my buddy got the large pyrite all steel today. I got the Smoky Mountain Knife Works blue black Damascus Warney pyrite. Ooh, that sounds nice. Love that large pyrite. The Warney is a laser. Yeah, and has just the right profile for a Warney blade. Whereas the Echo, which we were talking about before, has a more forgiving and probably useful blade than the Wharncliffe pyrite, because you've got a little bit of edge you can rock on. I'm sorry, not edge, a little bit of curve and belly that you can rock on. That's always more forgiving when cutting against a flat surface. But, I like a little more pointy. What can I say? Jay McConnell says, Bob, Dave, which would you pick for a yet untrained individual, the MR1 or the CQC Night Stalker? Well, that's interesting. I would probably go with the first. I would probably go with the regular edge orientation. For the untrained, if you want a Pikal style knife, and you don't have a lot of fixed blade knives that are tactical, I would say go with the regular, the Night Stalker first. Get them both. Because if you like this Night Stalker platform, you're gonna bond with this too. It's just that I feel like with a Pikal knife, you can start cheap with Pikal, with a Pikal style knife. Dave might bristle at that, but I like the idea of getting those kitchen knives, getting those Victorinox fruit knives, and dolling them up the way you like them, and having a cheap one on you. All that said, the Night Stalker is more available anyway. The MR1 was a pre-order; they sold out, and then I'm not sure when the next one will be. But I think with the Night Stalker, it is so popular, and there are 3 different versions of it, as you mentioned, that I think you're more apt to get that one anyway. And don't be mistaken. Just because the edge is on the normal side doesn't mean this isn't an incredibly tactical and effective kind of fighting style knife. This is always, when I carry this, it's always on the front, And I practice lifting up my shirt and drawing it like people do with their guns. And well, you see people do with their knives. And with the ring, for a long time, I was kind of anti-ring. But if it's placed right, the ring here, it's so great. You could just pull it out of the sheath and have this knife in someone's face real quick. I mean, if they were in your face, obviously. And if that's what you were carrying it for. So all things considered, I'd say go for the Night Stalker first. And then have your money ready for the MR1 because you're going to want to get that like post haste. Happy Haptic CDC says, I'm looking at maybe scooping up a TCal Piranha because I love me some tiny pocket fixies. Oh, man, do it then. Then do it because their knives are so good. Like this Combatant, this little sucker, it's pretty small, but, the Piranha is even smaller. Have you seen Staso's video on the Piranha? He has one, really likes it. Yeah. Oh, you definitely should. I think you'd like it. And if you want something a little bit larger, consider the Combatant. I have, and I've really liked it. I do like it quite a bit. Yeah. I like this whole thing that that many custom fixed blade makers do, where they have universality with their handle scales, Stroop knives, TCal knives, and a number of others that I've spoken with, where they have the CNC is actually just responsible maybe for, not in this case, but responsible for cutting out the handle scales. So each handle is the same. And so every grip is the same on that knife. And I love how how Tim and his partner put the scallops right around the outside here. Feels really good in hand. Really good. Your hand grips it so nicely. All right. TCal knives. I love them. I'm going to put this one back in my belt. They're so easy to carry. That's what I love about them. They're so well, and everything else. The knives themselves are just awesome. But yeah, it is a definite bonus that he works so hard on getting the sheaths nice and thin, just the bare minimum, always one side with the connecting grommet holes and such, and then a sort of I don't know if it's patented. I should say a very unique to the knife world way of closing the bottom that he said that Tim told me about. So it's very interesting and very great sheath. So there you go. Very great. Isn't that a little redundant? Very great sheath. It's like very, very delicious. Also redundant. So in talking with Lynn Thompson today, I realized how much I've loved these knives over the years, and I know I'm constantly making videos about them and stuff, but today it was like a love fest. I tried to not gush too much. I think I was pretty good at it. But inside I was just like, oh man, I love all of these knives. And I was talking about the Espada series and the Navajas and how without Lynn Thompson, they're at the helm for so many years. They're like 40 years at Cold Steel, kind of making designs from history. Where else would we be able to get a totally battle worthy or combat ready, if you will, or in the street dueling ready Espada or Navaja? You wouldn't. And they have opened doors for other companies to do this kind of thing, these kind of audacious knives, and make a lot of money. And people have not gone through that door, which is so crazy. You'll see little anomalies here and there, like the Strata from Kershaw, the big folder from Kershaw, or excuse me, or some of the bigger knives now coming out from Vosteed, and but nothing like these Cold Steels. Acid Test Kid says, "Oh, I plan to get an Espada one day." Yes, you know what, Acid Test Kids, you will be happy you did. It is great, and you know what, you can start with the G10 version for relatively inexpensive by comparison to this. I have the big giant one, and That's an OS 8. This one is in S35 VN. Patrick J. I'm sorry. Patrick J. Dunn says, still can't believe I got the XM18 tonight. Only took 5 years. I don't know. Do you say congratulations? I'm happy for you, Patrick. That XM18 is an amazing, amazing knife, and you will be so happy to carry that and hold it and use it. That is awesome. What was the blade shape you said it was? I know you said it was no choil, or no flipper. But what is the blade shape or the grind? I'd be interested to find out. I've never had a slicer grind. I'd like to have a slicer. I've never had a regular drop point. Just the Wharncliffe, the Bowie, and the Sponto. And man, yes, that's awesome, man. I'm very happy for you in that purchase. Here's another one that I found quite audacious. So talking about this, it made me realize so many different innovations have come and gone, and some have really been adopted. You know, like the flipper tab and the liner lock and that thing, and then other things have been left by the wayside. But here is one thing that really slicer. Ooh, I love that. Very nice, Patrick. That's a good looking. Sorry for the Joe Biden in the mic, but the slicer, man, that is a really nice looking knife, and quite a performer, if I'm to believe YouTube. But the folding kukri, nice, says Cheeto Bandito. Yep, the Raja 2 from Cold Steel, and it was this innovation that Andrew Demko came up with, inspired by, when Andrew Demko was working with Lynn Thompson, and he was just like, we got to make these stronger, figure out a way, and the genius of Andrew Demko came up with the triad lock, putting the pin there, putting the stop pin between the lock bar and the blade tang, and making a deep pocket there that the hook in the back of this can always sink ever deeper into. The more broken in the knife, the deeper the lockup. Just a brilliant innovation, and in doing so, inspired a lot of other lock blades to either get stronger or to be created in general. Have a Knife Day says, I wish I could have picked up a Cold Steel Black Rhino. Thank you. That one comes up all the time. Or I should say, I always bring that up with Jimmy slash Josh when I talk with him, because that's one I know he has, and he's also a very generous guy. So on the off chance I say, oh man, that Black Rhino, that was just the one that got away. Who knows? He might say, oh, I've got 3. Let me send you one. That has not happened. I know that I remember when he got his, he made a video, and it was a major score for him. But I'm with you. That Black Rhino was a sweet knife. If you guys don't remember or don't know what the Black Rhino was, it was a Bowie in this style dress with the bolsters and the shiny black contoured G10, but a much by comparison, a much more neutral handle and a much less aggressive clip point blade. I mean, it was aggressive, but nothing like that. So just a cool knife. Look it up. It'll be a cool one to get one day. I'll get it someday. I'll get one of those. I'm always kind of trolling around on eBay to see what old Cold Steels people are letting go. I'm sure there must be a better place, but if it's on Facebook, I don't want to do it. What can I say? Okay, so I think it might be time to get around to doing some of this giveaway here. But let me tell you about this knife first. And it's interesting because the Americanized Tanto, that was another thing we talked about today. The development of that, and this right here is a next generation beneficiary of all of the 80s and 90s Tanto design work that was happening, A, at Cold Steel, and B, with many custom makers, and some other companies were starting to to bite off the stilo of cold steel and start with the Tonto. And that is really, there were some people some custom makers who made Tontos, but it was not a very common thing. Rusty Hawk, good to have you here, Rusty Hawk. Always wanted a black sable. Yes, the black sable is cool. That's like it's a very stylized Tonto, also in that same sort of bolster and black shiny G10, but it's got a really nice swooping Tonto. It's got a very cool upswept Tonto blade. That black sable. And they had that series also had the first black Talon and a couple others. Dion Page says, so Bob, I've been wanting a Recon XL and XHP. Yes, I know, Dion. Yes. That is my most sought after knife. Clip point. Yep. Got it. Unfortunately, yeah, got it, but it's staying here for now. But Dion, you have the right of first refusal if I ever decide to sell. So this right here is what we're giving away. Look at that center point Tonto. That's what I was getting at. This Tonto blade is really cool, and I have to be 100% honest. As I judge things visually, when I saw pictures of this, I was like, eh. And then when I got it, I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, actually, that blade shape is brilliant. It's a really great blade shape. It puts that point right at the center line, so you can, so it's easier to access for utility cuts and all that kind of stuff. But for tactical use, you know where that point always is, kind of like a dagger, almost like a gladius style dagger type thing. And Dion Page says, outstanding. All right. You got to remind me every once in a while that I said that. And this whole front portion is so usable. That's the thing about off-grid knives, is that sometimes, like with the Raptor, I was like, God, that's a goofy design. Like, he's just trying to be different with this design. And then you get it in hand, you're like, oh, this is all extremely useful. All these edges and swoops and such. So this knife to me is like an even more comfortable version of the Stinger XL. One of their greatest knives, the Stinger XL, big knife. This is slightly smaller. This is like a 3.75 inch blade, and the handle is sized accordingly. And it's just incredibly comfortable. Great action. I kept one from the batch. He sent me 3. I had to keep one for myself because I love it so much. And I kept the one with the tan handle and the least awesome action. So this one has the best action, or maybe the one, I don't know. It's splitting hairs. They're so nice. These are made by not Best Tech. These are made in Taiwan. So off-grid knives are made by either Best Tech or in a Taiwanese factory. And kick some butt. All right, so we have Gentleman Junkies with us tonight, and some of you, or one of you, stands to win this knife, or one of the Gentleman Junkies, whether they are here with us or not. So I'm gonna have Jim bring up the names that I'd like to read off. The names of our Gentleman Junkies. We do have a new one this month, and I will call him out. Gentleman Junkie patrons, thank you one and all. 5 Door, Ben Belkin, Byron Kennedy, Caleb Townsend, Cam Michael, Colin Maison Pierre, new Gentleman Junkie, Dante, welcome, and thank you so much, sir. Edwin Callow, Ezekiel Yates, Francis Villaire, Grim Reaper, Hero Sticks, Jay McConnell, Jared Strasbaugh, Jesse Tellis, Jock Snives, JVF, K Mason, Kevin Moore, Martin Gamboa, Mr. VC256, Never Enough Knives 007, Scott Nelson, Sean Curry, Tom Kim, Will Boyer, Yuval Peleg, and Zach Williams. Thank you, one and all. Thank you for your patronage and for being here and for helping us move along here at the Knife Junkie podcast. We appreciate it greatly. And to commemorate that appreciation, we are going to give away this person to whomever wins this circle. Let's bring up the circle, shall we, sir? The wheel. I mean, the wheel. And while Jim is bringing up the wheel, let me just point out how incredible that spine is with the sort of file work and jimping combo. Your fingers are not going anywhere. Those thumbs are not slipping at all. All right. I'm going to put this down here. All right. So, who will win the July Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway? Let's roll right now. In 3, 2, 1. With Hero Sticks. Congratulations, Hero Sticks. You are the winner. Okay, so Jock, I'm not sure if you're watching, Jock. Now that I know you have not won this, I will get your El Pionero in the mail over to you. I'm not sure if you're watching, but I just wanted to let you know that. And it sounds like someone else is going to win something, but we're not going to find out who. No, I'm just kidding. But this right here is now yours. I will get my filthy paws off of this. Hero Sticks. Very, very happy that this is coming your way. And let me set this down. And that is that. Awesome. All right. Anyone out there care to share a game-changing innovation? So I was talking about the triad lock. Does anyone think the axis lock or that ambidextrous bar lock is anything to write home about? Is that an innovation? I kind of feel like it is. I think that was a very, very, very strong reaction to the need to make lockup better. Any thoughts? Didn't win? This is good. We do have an affiliate link through Off-Grid Knives. Just go to thenifejunkie.com/offgrid. And thank you in advance for your support. So that means if you go through thenifejunkie.com/offgrid and buy a knife that way, we here get a very, very small percentage of that sale through an affiliate sale thing. And it works great. And every couple of months I get like a $30 check. And it's nice. It's $30 I didn't have before. And it's just because you good folks got some knives. Dion says thumb studs were pretty important. Yeah, they were thumb studs and the one-handed opening. I remember seeing the movie Summer of Sam, a Spike Lee movie about the killings in 1976, I think it was summer of 76, when the son of Sam was the name of the serial killer, was killing people. And that was in 76, I think. And here, Spike Lee's prop guy had the main character, who was played by that weird guy with the big nose. What's his name? I like him, but I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was up there like kind of being a stripper, and he opened up a knife with, I don't know what it was, but it was a one-handed opening knife. And this was in the 90s, the late 90s. I remember watching it and thinking, that is wrong. That is wrong. This is a new innovation, because at the time it was. And here it is in a movie. He's opening it with one hand. Now, is that to say that they didn't have these things, these little quick studs? Maybe they did, but chances are they didn't. Chances are this was an afterthought after thumb studs started out. 1 minute knife review. Good to have you here with us, sir. Forward finger choil. Now, do you mean on the blade, or do you mean as guard? As a guard. I like both. I'm actually more partial to it as a guard, just because that's my taste in knives. But the finger choil, because it allows you to get up there and do that close-up work that they say, or that fine work that I don't end up doing, except I guess feather sticks is sort of like that. But seriously, being able to get up close. I find, especially on smaller pocket knives, I really like it. Like the Sage series, I love that choil. As a matter of fact, a lot of those Spyderco designs are kind of unimaginable without the choil, because they were kind of the 50-50 choil. I don't know. They really popularized that. It's a way to make the handle smaller, have the blade be full length and still get right up there for control. On blade for grip. Okay. Yeah. I'm kind of talking myself into it, even though oftentimes I will opt not to. I mean, like, look at this. This is a really, really great design, and having that choil there is really useful. Whereas if you were to keep it like this and then continue the blade edge to there, yeah, I guess you'd have a quarter inch more cutting edge. But I mean, do you need it? You can have that quarter inch more by choking up. You just miss it off the far end where you don't need it when you're choked up. Blame Dexter. Good to see you here, Blame Dexter. Heat treating was probably pretty game changing. Yes, I would agree with you. Yeah, that's old school game change. But yeah, 1 minute knife review. Love my Sage 1, and exactly the one I was thinking of. Great minds thinking alike, right? Really, those are all pretty much. Those Spydercos are all benefiting from it. Pardon me. Brady Fisher, good to have you here, Brady. Just went for a bike ride, carrying my Spidey Chef that I reground myself. Very nice. First of all, hope it was a good ride. Second of all, Spidey Chef, great knife to take because sturdy, capable, titanium, LC200N. You're going to sweat. It's not going to rust. But also nice and light. Nice and light. I love that knife. But I'm interested in how you reground it. Did you give it more of a point? That was what I had changed on mine. 5 Door says lock bar inserts. Yes. Big innovation. Excuse me. Big little innovation, or little big innovation. It came along, and now you 100%. No, I shouldn't say 100%. Chris Reeve Knives hasn't needed them, and they. I mean, my two Chris Reeve knives, I have one out here. This Sebenza does not stick. There is no lock stick here. And I guess the idea is over time, that titanium will wear down, and it will cause the lock bar to travel further towards the other side. But I don't care. I don't care about that. I really don't. So on this one, I don't need that. But on anything, who I'd wish would adopt the lock bar insert? Let's see, Strider. I know Strider is not exactly, I hate to put it this way, but is not exactly the most relevant knife to bring up because they're expensive and very difficult to get now, and kind of, I don't know what their status is, but I know they're making some knives, but in any case, this and the Lego SMF I had before it had really bad lock stick. This one has seemed to remedy itself with a combination of, pencil, lead, and stuff. And then after a while, it just sort of broke in really nicely. But yeah, I could see lock bar inserts being very useful in a Strider knife, for instance. Not all legacy knives have it exactly. OH and Ohio, and in case I missed pocket checks, my new at home pajama chill knife is the Mr. Designs D Cipher. Took a nap with it and didn't even feel it in my pocket. Blame Dexter. Is it you? I don't. Be careful with the sleeping with the knives in your pockets. If you can avoid it, I mean, a nap is one thing. I could sit right here and have a 20-minute nap from heaven. Napping is one thing, and if you're but getting in bed with that in your, don't do it. Don't do it. The last thing you want is one of these exquisitely sharp, beautiful knives to come out of your pocket while you're tossing and turning, thinking about the knives, that are on the way, and then suddenly, why is everything wet? Oh God, please. And I beseech you, because I've done it before where I've awakened the next morning and felt a knife in my pocket. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, to me, I don't know. That says I'm hugely, that to me is the worst. is a very bad thought. Kevin Moore, good to have you here, Kevin. As I talk about terrible thoughts, I'm going to shift my gear, shift my focus towards Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Evening, fellow knife junkies. Hope you're all keeping them sharp and pointy. Yes, indeed, sir. Hope you're keeping it Hawaiian and cool. You've been doing some good, some streams lately. That's pretty awesome, man. Keep at it. Brady Fisher says, I flattened the spine on my belt sander and finished it off by hand with a 1200 grit sandpaper. Ooh, that sounds nice. Flatten the spine. Oh, okay. All right. So you kind of took that contour out and kind of flattened it. That sounds cool. I'd love to see it. Oddly enough, I think the Spidey Chef is a good platform for alterations. Brady Fisher says, I have a large 21 and I've had to add spring tension on twice now. Had it since 2018, and the frame lock is almost touching the other side of the frame. No lock stick still. Yeah, mine too. I mean, kind of almost touching the. I cannot detect any movement over time. I think it's always been, the lockup has always been that. Let me see if I can focus. Hell, does it matter? It's always been close over there, and I haven't felt any movement. It doesn't bother me. And so mine, I always like to boast, mine was made on 2016 Leap Day. So a day that only comes 4 times a year, or once every 4 years. That's kind of cool to have something made on Leap Day. Kevin Moore says, hey, Bob, sharpened my second knife since the peepers went south. Can't keep a good knife junkie down. Nice. Sharpened. You cannot, sir. I don't sleep with a knife in my pocket. I sleep with a knife under my pillow. That's right. Usually a fixed blade. Yes, sir. That's a good policy. Under the pillow is just fine. No, I'm just kidding. I have mine within reach. I have a couple of things within reach. 1 Minute Knife Review says, I only keep an out the front in my pocket for sleep. I'm presuming that you're not joking, and I think that is a good idea, because there's no way you're going to misfire an out the front if you want a knife in your pocket for sleep. And if you do, I am totally not laughing at you. I have a knife in my shower, to each his own. That's my philosophy. Dion Page says, how about bearings? It's got to rank up there for stupid genius. I mean, how did it take that so long? Is pretty right in your face every time you open a folder. That's funny that you say that. I don't have it out with me, but for me, it was the SOCOM Elite. I have a 2013 SOCOM Elite. That's my road trip knife. And when I got that, I think it was 2014 or 2015, maybe. I remember it was like every time I opened it, I was like, oh, I don't like this. It feels like it's getting ahead of me. Why is it so fast? Like, I just didn't know. I didn't know that it had bearings in it. And that wasn't something that that wasn't a selling point at that point. People were not bragging about, this has bearings. It just had them. And it was just extra awesome. And I didn't really understand why. And of course, years later, now I do. Justin Wolf, good to have you here with us. Justin, he says, I have a 21 since 2012. 0 issues. Haven't moved much. I don't baby it. Yeah, I mean, that's why they can charge a premium. I remember hearing little rumbles over the past few years here and there about, oh, they're slipping because they're getting too popular. And I don't think so. I was checking them out at Blade Show, and I do know that there's a long wait. But they are still just amazing. And, in a lot of ways, the 31 felt better to me. And in other ways, it felt just like my or not like my Zahn, but what was the other one? I can't remember what the hell that was called. Not the 21, but the other one. Anyway, so it did have a slightly different feel because of the ceramic interface, a ceramic ball interface. But in general, this thing is a battle ready piece of gear. And what I mean by battle ready is actually you just take it apart and put it right back together, and it's perfect immediately. Drop shut is like on bearings. It's kind of incredible though. Yeah. All right, so the bearings thing, you could argue is a valuable innovation, something more valuable than just how good it feels and how nice it is. The drop shut thing is 100% just nice and feels good. But the action coming out, you could argue, it is an innovation because you want the knife to come out fast. That's why you have a flipper or some other mode of deployment one-handed, so that you're not using both hands to open it. So it's like the bearings are like the logical, it's taken to the logical pivot smoothness taken to its logical conclusion equals bearings, until we get to maglev pivots, magnetic pivots, and everything's hovering, and who knows, hopefully maybe Winter Blade Co. figures that one out. He's all over the magnets. But yeah, bearings. Yeah, I guess that really, really does have to go up there as one of those top innovations. The drop shut thing is just a pleasant side effect that most of us enjoy. And those of us who say we don't enjoy it are lying. Just like when I lied about not liking strawberries inexplicably for like 25 years. I don't know. I have to unravel that. I have to unpack that. But you get the benefit of that in something like this. But another thing you get the benefit from in something like this is CNC. CNC, I guess, it's not a knife innovation, but the fact that knife makers like Michael Martin of American Blade Works can make something this precise and this well done with this great, with action this great, as a one-man band in his garage is pretty amazing. And that's through the technology of the machines he's using. This Model 2 is awesome. Someone had a Model 1 they were talking about before. Someone got one in AEBL, I think. Yeah, these things are awesome. Maglev pivots would be extremely neato. Yes. Well, let's make it happen. Hey, something interesting. Well, no, that I'm going to shelve that for a later date. Patrick J. Dunn. First time I took apart my Sebenza 31. My apologies, people. I had all the screws out and it stayed together, opened and closed as if still screwed together. Super tight tolerances. Yeah, it is an amazing knife to take apart and put back together. And because of those tight tolerances, when you're putting it back together, if it's not like, if your hands are in any way imprecise in how you lower the top scale down on the pivot and the standoffs, it can be tough. Brady Fisher says, I sent Spidey Chef pic on IG. Okay, cool. I will definitely check that out. I'm not sure if I follow you, Brady, so I'll try and remember to look in requests if not. Happy Haptics EDC says, double up the lock bar insert as an over travel stop was a solid trick. Yeah, that Grimsmo came. Oh, I didn't know Grimsmo came up with that among a few others. Yeah, solid trick. Exactly. That was great because it took away the need for that secondary pivot thing, which we don't see much of anymore. We see it on the Strider here. We see it on the Hinderer. I guess Hinderer was the guy who invented that lock bar with the lock bar stabilizer. And it's a stabilizer because it not only stops it from overextending, but it also stops any movement down from pressing downward. Byron Kennedy says, I think the biggest steel technology that transformed the industry was crucible and particle metallurgy, technology. Sorry, the ability to take the same alloying elements and steel and get more uniformity. Yeah, I would say so. That is a good one. And one could argue, is that something that needed to happen? Not necessarily, but were airplanes something that needed to happen? No, not necessarily, but it is raising the bar on everything else. And yeah, 440C is still an awesome steel, but that doesn't mean we can't have even awesomer steels. Dion Page says, Bob, if you could have any 7 blades ever made, geez, how many would be swords? Interesting. 7 blades ever made. And okay, so I'm going to make some assumptions here, Dion, since we're not here talking back and forth. I'm going to assume that you mean I could have 7 blades out of history, like, and how many of them would be swords? That is an interesting question. I'm just going to spitball it here. I think 3 would be swords. I think that 3 would be swords. And then I think that I would tend, is that right? Yeah, I think I would tend towards historical knives up to shorts. I mean, we're our definitions have to be fluid here. A sword starts at 29 inches for me, and then or 24 inches is a short sword, to 29 to 30 inches, and then above that. So anything below that, like in the 15-inch realm and below, that's a knife. So I think it would be more knives, and it would be like 4 knives and 3 swords. I'm guessing. I don't know, man. That's a cruel question. Six Semper Tyrannis, good to have you here, sir. I've enjoyed the Axis lock over the years. I've really enjoyed the Axis lock over the years. Yeah. With the button locks coming out, so with at such a coming out at such a breakneck pace, it's got me thinking about that, which is a fun, no doubt. The button lock is a fun fidget mechanism, but I think I still like the bar lock better, the Axis lock, for all purposes. It feels like it's more sturdy in terms of lockup, but it's also more gratifying to flip open. And if you're going to annoy everyone around you, it might as well be the most pleasing experience possible. I'm still skeptical about powdered metals. What has you skeptical? While you type that out, I'll tell you what I like about them. It's the uniformity of the grain structure at a very micro level, and you can if you watch Forged in Fire and you see someone who doesn't quite get, hey, how's it going? We have Luck Knives with us. What is up? Well, how you doing? How's your move? I think you might be moved into your new shop. Is that right? Anyway, congratulations on the move. I know that that's already happened, but can't wait to hear about the shop. Luck Knives, definitely check out Luck Knives. What was I getting at? See, that's me. Something shiny. Hey, I know that guy. Happy Haptics EDC. Who started detent ramps? Oh, that's funny. I don't know who started detent ramps, but they didn't. I feel like they're not too prevalent. This knife has a detent ramp, and it's very obvious. You could feel it. You can tell, and it feels like a little bit of luxury. And it made me realize people started doing that, but I feel like you don't hear about it too much. So I don't know who started that. Detent ramps. Brady Fisher says, I wish Strider would adjust their stop pin geometry to allow the stop pin to contact. Oh, yeah, that is weird. The G10 side. Would help with the insane lock stick after hard use. Need a screwdriver a few times with mine. Yes, that's right. That's what I was talking about when I said lock bar insert for Strider. But yeah, that's right. So what Brady's talking about here is the stop pin. They're not thumb studs, but the stop pin here only contacts on the titanium side. It just barely misses the G10 side, and that's by design so that the G10 doesn't get stressed and chipped away. This chip away here is from dropping it, so it's not that. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I said those weren't thumb studs. You can use them as such, but they're not set up for comfort at all. Yeah, I kind of wish that too. So pocket clip. What about pocket clip? That's a big one, because now you don't have the boat anchor in the bottom of the pocket. You have the boat anchor at the top of the pocket, but that's still way more comfortable. Blame Dexter says, "Oh, speaking of swords, I started watching a show called Demon Slayer recently, and they use katanas as weapons. You can buy replicas online. I really want one, but the knife nerd in me knows that I think you're going to say half of the reproduction knives. Well, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Half the quality of everything probably sucks. Yes. So if you want to scratch the katana itch, there are other ways to do it for inexpensive, and I would definitely consider Cold Steel. They have a low grade, so to speak, and I think they call it the warrior class. I have the Shisa katana. It's awesome. Oh, but they look so cool. All right, Blame Dexter. I'm totally with you. I get it. The way it looks is the way it looks, man. You can't control how compelling something is. It's like the Rambo 3 knife that I keep in the laundry room. I love it, but it's a crap knife. James Moore says, retracting clip by Jean-Pierre Martin. Looks like an inlay. Oh, that's cool. Press the top of the clip to pivot it open. Slide it into your pocket. It deploys. Take it out. The clip is flush in the handle. I love that. That is so cool. Yeah, that's an innovation. That's an innovation that I'd love to see more of in more everyday knives. That'd be cool to see. Six Semper Tyrannis says it's kind of like the way certain things filter through. Like you see the fashion shows and you're like, who the hell would wear that? Well, it's not necessarily about someone wearing that whole thing, but that color blue and that type collar and those, and how it's paired with that kind of thing. Same thing filters through to the knife world. Well, I guess probably all product worlds. So it'd be cool to see that clip make its way off of the high-end custom knives and make its way onto something that it's like a Wii knife or something. Six Semper Tyrannis at long last says, mainly in tool application like gearing and molded powder metallurgy. Okay. What I was getting at before was when you see someone improperly heat treating or composing a blade steel and it breaks and you see the grain structure, it's always big and irregular. And that's the thing about the powder metallurgy that's so great, is that the grain structure is super fine, assuming it's heat treated correctly, and very, very, very regular. So it's not going to, it's going to be harder to find a stress point. Whereas if you have, for lack of a better way of putting it, lumps in there, well, the lumps will be the weak spot. James Moore says, another great innovation, the integral detent nub by Brian Nadeau. Yeah, no doubt. So if you're unfamiliar with what that is, if here's your lock bar and you have a, see, is this going to work like that? No. Okay, so you have the ball, the detent ball coming out of the lock bar arm. Well, instead of having a ball pressed in, let's see if I can make this work. Instead of having a ball pressed in to the lock bar, Brian Nadeau's innovation is a little nub or ramp that's integral to the lock bar. So basically, when making that piece, everything is cut away that isn't that nub sticking out of the sticking out as a detent, but it's not a ball. That's the worst description ever. But trust me, it's cool. And when you feel it and open a Brian Nadeau knife, it has such a cool break. The way the blade opens up, it feels different. I'd love to see more of that, but I would imagine it's extremely difficult and expensive. Luck Knife says, settled in here in Utah, ground the first blade today. Congratulations, sir. Also placed an order for a heat treat oven and milling machine. So when we were talking on the Knife Junkie podcast, the big issue was moving up to Utah and not wanting to get too many tools before that move. Well, now you're settled in, and now it's just a matter of saving up and getting all the tools. So that's exciting, Mike. Congratulations, sir. I appreciate you, but I'm happy for you. Five Door says, thanks, Bob and Jim. Gotta go. No need to read this on the stream. Well, there you go. I read it on the stream. Thanks, Five Door. Have a great one. And we'll see you here next week, sir. Happy Haptics EDC says, Grimsmo might have been the first with the ramps. He innovated a bunch of modern twists on knife machining techniques. That sounds like it could be right, just like the lock bar insert with the over travel built in. Dissentient 01, good to have you here, man. Bob, would one of these three swords be a two-handed claymore? No. But I will tell you what, I don't know. You know what? I've never really trained any two-handed sword techniques. I've done a lot of the smaller one-handed sword techniques. And I believe that with a properly weighted pommel on something like a broadsword, I could be pretty good with that using these kind of techniques, maybe. But two-handed, I don't know. But what I would like, and it's also Scottish, is a basket hilt sword. You know, the kind of sword that you put your hand inside the grip and your whole hand is enveloped with a complex weave of metals. And then there's like a nice velvety glove inside there. Not glove, but a sort of fitting so that, your knuckles aren't going to rub, but they won't anyway, because that thing is far away from your knuckles. But yeah, a basket hilt broadsword from Scotland could very possibly be on that list of swords. I absolutely love that sword. And I think I would stay away from the Filipino stuff only because I have it and it's somewhat readily available. So, But now you got me thinking. I don't know. I'm thinking of, I grew up outside of Cleveland. The Cleveland Museum of Art has an amazing collection of medieval swords and knives, and they even have a cool gun room from like the early days of revolvers. They have a lot of cool old revolvers and stuff like that, and old long ass rifles that had monopods and all that. They have a really great art museum in Cleveland in general, known for their Asian collection. Anyway, I also used to go to the Met a lot when I lived in New York, and it's free. A lot of people don't know that, but when you go into the Met Museum and it says $20 to enter, it says suggested fee in a tiny thing. So I would go and say, I suggest I give this extremely well-endowed institution of New York City a quarter, and I'd give my quarter and I would go in. Not that I'm not for supporting the arts, but I didn't want to pay $20 to go up and gaze at some paintings and some swords. So, but there they have an amazing array of ethnographic weaponry. It's so cool. If you're ever in New York City, make sure you go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and check out the armor room and the knives and the swords. So cool. Non-flipper flippers are pretty neat. Non-flipper flippers. Do you mean kind of like this Jetstream here? Jetstream prototype by Tempest Knives. That's kind of like a no flipper. I love these, if that's what you're talking about. I think they're a great way to have that flipping action, but have it in your pocket without that pocket pecker, as Shabazz used to say. Honeybear85, good to see you here, sir. The retractable clip disguised as an inlay sounds like a better version of the clip on the Lion Steel Thrill. Right. Surprised we didn't see more retractable clips on folders. They take up a lot of real estate, though, and are likely to make the knife wider than it needs to be. And then I would imagine you have to have some sort of a post. So it's going to throw the handle to blade ratio off if you're a nerd like me. But imagine if this had one of those retractable clips, it would need all of that clearance through that blade tip to have space to pop out. It'd have to house itself inside there. So I believe it. I don't know. Like I said, believe. I have no idea, but I think it might make it a thicker overall knife and also make the blade shorter than it would ordinarily be, because you need all of that space internally. Talk amongst yourselves. No, I don't know. It is a cool innovation, but I got to say, I like the good old fashioned spring clip. Like there are few clips better than this on the Sebenza. Still that spring clip, I love it. I mean, I like a titanium clip too. It's all good. It's all good. But something about a spring clip is real sure in hand, sure in pocket, I guess I should say. Other innovations. There was a sword, says Dion, like the one in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that was found submerged in water and nasty for over 3,000 years in its scabbard and had no rust, sharp as a razor. That's unreal. That's amazing. I love that. Could be a bit of Chinese propaganda, but I love the story. No rust after 3,000 years. Maybe it was made out of who knows? Who knows what happens over 3,000 years? Who knows what was happening 3,000 years ago? With the aliens and such. I know we all watch Ancient Aliens. And what about jimping? Did we have jimping? Was jimping something that just kind of came along when people started saying jimping, or have knives always been jimped? I don't remember the early. You know what? The first time I ever heard jimping was on the description in the catalog for the Cold Steel Culloden, a boot knife based on the Scian Du from Scotland that had file work jimping, kind of like this. Here, let me put this under here. Kind of like this, little grooves cut out of the sides, cut out of the corners of the blade, but not like lines going across that grip the skin. Just sort of like file work jimping, except on the Cold Steel, instead of being exactly opposed, they were alternating. Come on. Yeah, they alternate left to right to give you a grip. So that's the first time I ever heard of jimping, and then didn't hear about it for years until Nuttin' Fancy started talking about jimping. Remember, he used to say jimping. I don't know if you guys watched Nuttin' Fancy. I'm sure you did. But so is jimping an innovation? Non-flipper flipper. Think ProTech whiskers. Yeah. You mean a wait, but it flips open with no spring. The whiskers I thought was a scale release automatic, where you slide the scale in this direction and it opens up. That's what I thought that was, but I guess I'm mistaken. Dion Page says it's in a museum. I'll find it, the vid, and send it to you. Oh, okay. All right, cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We've done a couple of stories recently about these incredible finds. One of them was a sword that they found in a river that was like, oh, no. They found this in a grave site, and it was like 6 feet long. It was like a great sword, but from an era that didn't have great swords generally. I can't remember. I'm going to have to look that one back up, but it is pretty cool. And then think about these things. For instance, this knife. Well, this is 1095, so maybe this won't last as long. That micarta handle might outlast the steel in this knife, but if we take a super steel, I don't know exactly the qualities, but here we have Elmax and micarta. Elmax is powder metallurgy, right? Elmax is a super steel. Elmax is very, very stain resistant, and so will this one last longer than this one? I mean, how's this going to work? What are people going to be digging up? I want to know. Probably some of these expensive powder metallurgy steels will just persevere. Prather War Bowie awesomeness, no doubt about this. So if you guys haven't seen, I think his name is Jeff Prather, had a video out several months ago on the Tops channel on YouTube, and you can check that out. But it's really cool. He shows how he carries the Prather War Bowie and how he uses the pommel to change grips. It's pretty cool. I tried it for a little while, and it's a whole way of life, man. I don't know if I can carry my knives and do it the way he does it, but I found it pretty neat. Brady Fisher says Nick S did a video on it. Super slick bolster lock on bearings. Stan Wilson non-flipper flipper. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Nick S. Nick S. Nick S. Who's Nick S? It'll come to me. Oh, Shabazz. Dur. Okay, I'll have to check that out. The whiskers. ProTech is an innovator. They've innovated or maybe perfected. Like I would say they have perfected the button out the side. They really were the first big production company, though I say David Cam was doing it before them even, to do a great job with the flipping button lock. I don't mean flipping button lock like the Irish might say, that flipping button. I mean like a flipper button lock. Yeah, I think that was pretty much them with the Malibu, and I think that was the first one, right? The Malibu. Killer vid. I watched it 4 times. Right on. Okay. Well, I love it. Put it in the comments. Put the link in the comments so people can check it out easily, if you don't mind, yeah. Go juice. Love that stuff. Can't get enough. All right. I want to talk a couple of knives that are out. Rosecraft. Do we never ever really talk about Rosecraft? I think Byron has a Rosecraft that he talks about every once in a while. Anyway, they have 3 new knives dropping, and 2 of them are designed by their proprietor, by the head of their company. And now I'm forgetting his name. And I'm stalling while I try to remember. Oh, Armstrong. His name is Andy Armstrong. And this first one on top, does that look like anything familiar to you? Does that look like the Paul Munko designed Comet by Kaiser? To me, this looks a lot like the Kaiser Comet. I could be mistaken. Maybe it's just the blade shape and the angled bolster and the general shape of the handle. But, ideas are just in the air, man. They're in the ether. And, you're going to make a little clip point flipper. It's going to look like probably a bunch of other clip point flippers. This Tonto looks pretty overbuilt and faceted, pretty cool blade shape. I do like the front of it. It looks like you could really go hard in the paint with this one. They're calling it a snub nose Tonto, which I guess is a perfect description. It does have a snub nose. It's the MA11, another Andy Armstrong design. And then this last one, I've seen Scab showing this one off quite a bit, the Eris Rex. Eris. Okay, someone look this up. Is Eris, was he a Sicilian boxer in mythology? Or I think he was Eris. And that's a total random fact. I'm not some like Sicilian mythological scholar or anything. Hawkins Rose is the man behind the Eris Rex. Hawkins Rose. Okay. So this is a 3.45 inch Tonto with a harpoon. I don't know. Maybe this is one of those knives that in hand is like awesome, because that has happened before where I'll look at a knife and, oh, I don't know about that. And then I get a hold of it and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. This could be one of those knives, but from pictures, kind of an ugly duckling in my mind. The handle looks very nice. The blade looks a little awkward to me, but we all know that I have issues with harpoon. So I don't know. It could be just my harpoon issue. What do you think? They are coming hard and fast with the knife models. They just keep coming from Rosecraft. I'm going to have to relent one of these days and get some. And I make that joke. I'm not resistant to getting one. It's just so many knives, so little time. Kevin Moore, for those that love Tales on Knives, how about that lanyard hole? Anyone? Says Kevin Moore. Kevin, you're in an unpopular camp, but I really admire your courage to come on this platform and suggest lanyard hole. I too love the lanyard hole, and I too like knife tails. But Kevin. Well, you're a brave man. And by the way, you also inspired this. I want to show this real quick. With your quill, which you have wrapped with paracord, you inspired me to wrap my quill with jute. I love jute. And it really increased the grip and the sureness in hand of this thing, for sure. So thank you for the inspiration on this. It's like I have a brand new tool here, /worrystone/weapon. Love that thing. Okay, so another one. Let's see. Blade Ogre says, love the Rosecraft Applejack. Yeah, I do like their slippies a lot, I gotta say. Rosecraft has two nice looking Barlows. Yeah, they have one that's a flipper button lock. That's pretty big. And out now, and another on the way as the French Broad. The French Broad. Hey, she was this French broad. She had a really nice knife, though. Or not though. In addition to her being a French broad, she had a really nice knife from Rosecraft. Okay, a unique Kaiser knife. The Hyper. This is a Wharncliffe, or is it? Maybe it's a sheep's foot, but really kind of a cool looking knife. And this has been out, but now they're coming back out with. Oh wait, no, this one has not been out. This is brand new. One of them is anodized aluminum with 154 cm, and the other one is anodized. Okay, all right. One of them is anodized titanium with LMAX, and one of them is anodized aluminum with S35VN. Wow, that was hard to get out, but an interesting way to go about it. I like that. I like both combinations. Who doesn't love titanium and LMAX? But I'm a big fan of aluminum, especially on this kind of a knife, on a button lock knife. Why? I don't know. I think it could be because button locks to me, maybe it's just in my head, but they want the extra strength of metal around them. I don't know. But kind of cool. They look like these are the kind of knives that you get non-knife people to get them excited about knives, or at least to get them to use and carry a knife. This is something that a non-knife person might carry because it's very interesting. It's light. It's non-threatening. And no doubt with these materials, it's super capable. And with the Kaiser build, it's going to be fit as a fiddle. So this is one of those crossover knives, a lifestyle knife, and they definitely have their place. Not necessarily in my collection, but I'm glad they're around. And well, this is a cool one to check out. And again, it's another button lock. Button locks, they just keep coming, don't they? No problems with that. James Moore says the captive pivot is a nice innovation that eases disassembly. Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I was holding this up before. This is the Reich made SOCOM Bravo, and it's one of the first knives I've had in a while that's got the pivot on, the screw on both sides. It's such a pain in the ass. I got to say, it does loosen up quicker. And I believe I thought I put blue Loctite in there, but I just discovered tonight it's loose again. And yeah, so James Moore, I'm with you. The captive pivot, the D-shaped pivot, or whatever else. Ocaso knives, they have a really cool diamond-shaped pivot that shows off their logo. Of course, I can't focus on it, but you can see it right there. So that's a captive pivot, but it's also decorative. It's got more than one purpose. Do that. Hey, people, we can do better. We can do better than double-sided pivots. Fernando says, I like your Stroop Knives push dagger, so I had to get me one. I am awaiting for them to send it. Fernando, you will not be disappointed, and I have come up with a great way to carry that knife. I don't have it's in my case right now, but what I have done, and I'll just tell you how I carry it, and do what thou wilt. But whether you carry it this way or maybe another way, this Discrete Carry Concepts / TKL Knives collaboration clip, which you can buy for $12 on the TKL Knives website, is awesome. And so I ended up putting that on my Stroop push dagger for horizontal carry, and it worked great, except that the knife itself was not comfortable for me in that style carry because it is not a symmetrical handle. It's slightly longer on the bottom, and I found that when I sat down, just kind of poked my leg in a way that I didn't like. So I decided to go in the waistband with it, but kept this, and it works great. So it's this double clip goes in the waistband, and your waist comes right here, and then the handle itself comes out and comes over the belt just a little bit. It's really discreet, out of the way, and easy to grab. So I would consider, if I were, I'll make a video about it. But if I were you, I would consider getting that other clip from TKL Knives. It's great. It really works great, especially for, and I found it works great on that knife itself. How about the use of T8 hardware? Not an innovation. I'd say that's more of a convenience. And hey, listen up, people. This is what people want. For instance, on the Jetstream here, KC put all T8 hardware. That's part of the deal. Hidden lanyard hole is a good step towards eliminating the lanyard hole completely. Yes, and maybe more of an innovation than the lanyard hole itself. What I don't like is when people supply this kind of lanyard post hidden, but they don't give you enough room to actually get any sort of cordage through there. This one is really well done, and it gives you a nice curved surface to feed that cord towards, to shoot it out the other side. So well done there. Detent nub over ceramic ball. Pretty sure that's another Grimsmo move. LOL, says Happy Haptics EDC. That's funny. That could be those Grimsmo dudes. If they'd respond to my emails, they could tell us all about it. Brady Fisher says, I had a Protect. I shouldn't say that. I invited them years ago, but I should invite them back. John Grimsmo et al. I had a Protect TR4 that started locking itself closed. Oh, that's weird. I dropped it off to them, and they had it ready to pick up for warranty in less than a week. How cool. How cool to get that service, and how cool to live so close that you could do that. Oh, TR4 manual action. Okay. Yeah, that's a cool one, the TR4. I know that they made 2 different sizes of it, but I like obviously the 4-inch size. Nice quill wrap, Bob. Hope you feel better, says Kevin Moore. Thanks, Kevin. I've had this lingering. I mean, you heard me last week. I was hacking and coughing way worse than tonight, but this thing has just lingered. I got it from my daughter, and yeah. I mean, I refuse to change my lifestyle. I'm going swimming at the pool every evening, and I probably should get more sleep, but yeah, this thing is lingering. It's annoying. Yeah. Well, looking around, I see a table full of cool knives. I'm going to do one more comparison, and then I'm out of here. I'm out of here for sleep. It's been a crazy day. I got to interview my white whale interview today, so that was exciting. Okay. Where is it? Here it is. All right. I talk about this all the time, but I never have the Raja around. I contend that the Jason Knight designed MK Ultra is a better folding kukri. And by better, I mean, better than the Raja 2. Notwithstanding the lock strength, okay? This is not about that. Though this is a frame lock that you could potentially reinforce with your hand when gripping. But what I've been getting at, and I think it ruffles feathers a little bit, or at least my cold steel nerds, is that this is a great knife, and it has a lot of the hallmarks of a kukri, especially that blade. But this one has the spirit. It has that overall curve. See, this one's real straight. It does have the recurved blade, but the overall profile is straight, whereas I always think of a kukri as having this shape. So, yeah, now that I have them both out together, I just thought I'd show that off. This actually looks like a blue whale, and this looks kind of like a killer whale. And with that, I am out too, Byron. Thank you, Byron. It's great to have you here tonight. I'm out. See y'all next week. See you next week, Byron. I think I'm about to take off too, guys. Brady Fisher says, I don't like posts and handles without screws in them. They always turn into a rattle. That's right. Even stop pins are like that. I have had to take XM18s apart and put little tiny pieces of rubber band between the scale and the because the hole goes all the way through the titanium, but between the scale and the pin, just to stop it from, with when things contract, metal contracts, it'll slide. The tolerance becomes slightly less, and it'll slide back and forth, and that drives me nuts. And that used to happen a lot on stop pins on cold steels too. You could hear them rattle after a while. And I could never figure out, why do I hear it rattle when it's closed, but not when it's open? And then I finally realized, because it's the stop pin, not really on these knives, the triads. But anyway, yep. Coming up on Sunday, it's Aaron Bieber of AB Knives, Aaron Bieber Knives. If Dave is still with us listening, he's gonna go nuts when he sees this stuff. But anyway, really cool guy. Ends up that he and I went to the same art school in Philadelphia. That was one of a couple of commonalities between the two of us. Another one, he's a great guy. Another one, very talented man. No, I'm just kidding. He is, and I love his knives, and we have a great conversation. So do check us out on Sunday. That's Aaron Bieber on the Knife Junkie podcast, right around noon o'clock on Sundays when Jim drops that. Also, there's Wednesday, the midweek supplemental, and then Thursday, of course, Thursday Night Knives. Also, you can come and join us on Patreon and have your chance to win a knife just like tonight. I'm going to send this off to Hero Sticks, and he's also going to get the Hank from O Knives. That'll go out to him too. And you get that from becoming a patron. So go over to the knifejunkie.com/Patreon and check it out. You'll also hear like an extra half hour of conversation that I had with Lynn Thompson, where he really let his hair down. No, I'm just kidding. I did not ask him anything too inflammatory, but he's a great guy. He's got all sorts of stories to tell from the good old days of knives and stuff. So those are the benefits. All right. One and all, thank you for joining us on Thursday Night Knives. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.